If you are the person who's actually considering to become sober, or maybe you have some kind of a struggle with alcohol, or you kind of asking yourself the questions, do I have a problem? Well, hello, because you are in the right place, and in here definitely you're gonna see some answers to majority of your questions. Not being sure what's going on with you, but I assure you, there's nothing wrong with you. Just basically speaking, some stuff will be, or it is already in your life, a little bit misplaced. It will be a lot of people which they might not actually liking this video, because it is a huge possibility that this video will be actually highlighting something which is not right, or maybe there's something you put in back into your head because you don't want to admit it. In perspective, you might kind of see your life situations here, and maybe never you thought about this, but maybe there is something, because in majority cases it will be like, I got no problem with alcohol, right? Your personal finances might be already in distress. So it could be even that you so much in debt that you go in towards the bankruptcy, or maybe you're gonna lose your mortgage, maybe you're gonna lose the house, and money becoming so tight, and everything is just because of the alcohol, because the alcohol is on the first place. Yes, on the beginning you try to take everything, considering like I having control of it, I see how my finances flowing. But more and more you're going towards alcohol, then you spend more money on it. So that means if I will spend the money for something there, then I will not have money there. And then that will create another situation, typically like maybe the money you have and they used to been, able to cover your whole monthly paychecks. Maybe right now you come into the point where you constantly having a shortage. So in majority cases, that will be something like money enough for 3 weeks. So on the fourth week, you really, really, really have to cut the deals. So you're kind of living like a very, very poor person. So you can afford just enough to get by, but still alcohol will be first. Or maybe even it goes down to the point that you actually start borrowing the money, because you need to have the money for drinking. So I buy my booze, I buy my drinks, I buy my alcohol, whatever you want to call it, and I am able to do something like, even if I borrow 60, 50, 100 or whatever I need, the maybe 20% will go towards the food and the rest of it will go towards alcohol itself. So I got my happy hour, right? But hey, problem with alcohol? Yeah, I got no problem, right? One thing leads to another. I mean, when you start borrowing money because you don't have enough money for alcohol itself, then you create a situation that it's kind of a ladder, right? It starts very simple steps. First, because you're embarrassed of the situation, or you don't want people, just telling you that maybe you should, seek for help or something, then you kind of, I will borrow from, strangers in terms of credit cards, or, the bank, or whatever you try to legally, financially get the money to cover your expenses for it. And when all these streams of income are completely exhausted, there is no chance whatsoever, then you will start going around your friends, mates, and places like that. So this is another level of showing you how deeply and how quickly you're going down with it. The same as with the type of alcohol you buy in it. First, on the beginning, it's just because you're kind of a rich, or you're not so deep in it, you're going to be actually drinking some kind of a more expensive stuff. Now later, we go into the stage that the typical amount you've been drinking is not enough. So you start drinking more and more and more. So that will cost you more and more and more. So whatever you've been able to cover by your expenses, in terms of that you could afford for it, now it's not going to be that easy challenge. So you start going down on a grade of type of alcohol, because then it's not about actually enjoying, if we can call it that way, whatever you've been drinking so far. You're going to be going towards, I need something to just kick me in the head. So anything which consistently have alcohol in it, and it doesn't matter if it's cheap or not cheap, will do the job. And in this point, it will have to be cheap because you're buying more. So that means if I will pay less, then I will have more. And that's how the vicious circle is actually closing down. But hey, I got no problem, right? Public holidays, for instance, right? In some countries, the stuff goes around the weekends. So if you could have, like, let's say that would be UK, so Monday, bank holiday, which is actually time when in some places, businesses, you don't go to work. And there you go. So you kind of coming up with the subject, I got a plan for action now. I mean, Friday after work, going for alcohol. Saturday, going for alcohol. Sunday, going for alcohol. And in some cases, Monday, going for alcohol. So look at this. It's already like 4 days. And every time when bank holiday comes up, the first thing you're actually putting in your head is not actually what I'm going to do around there and there and there, but it's actually, oh, well, I can drink some, right? I mean, normally I will be drinking whatever I'll be drinking, and then on Monday I have to be sharp and ready. But now I got actually, let's say, Monday off, in some places even being paid. So that's actually double whammy. We're winning, being paid, not going to work, and I have a chance to knock down on Sunday now because I don't need to be ready for Monday, but I'm gonna be ready for Tuesday. Same as on normal holidays when the people go in. If you see the situation that you're going for the holiday and you actually don't spend that holiday in terms of resting, in perspective visiting something, but it's actually more towards alcohol. The question is, why do I need that holiday for? I mean, you just drinking actually in a more, let's say, fancy place, but everything is turned down to drinking rather than being and enjoying that place. Maybe not on the beginning, but the more progress is going, when you're more drinking, you actually have everything around drinking, and that will take you to that spot. So every holidays, it doesn't matter if it's a bank holidays or is a kind of a Christmas time or whatever you want to call it, then everything is about drinking. So then you see that you're planning towards it, you're doing it, only that stuff. But again, hey, I got no problem, right? The situation that I deserve one, that I deserved it because I worked hard all week. So, Friday, it's obvious, right? A few shots to, just resolve any stress, or just like that feeling on Friday that, finally I got the free time. So, we can enjoy ourselves. And when you start enjoying yourself around alcohol, then Saturday looks pretty much on a similar basis, with probably majority cases it will be like every weekend totally devastated and wasted, and on Monday showing up like completely did not rest at all because, well, you've been involved in that kind of a drinking activity. So alcohol, it takes a toll. But on top of that, you have your family, right? So let's say your kids are doing some kind of a Sunday, I mean, if you have one, or maybe you live in with a partner. So Sunday becomes like the point when it's some kind of a sports activities on places that you want to visit. Let's say your wife or your husband or whoever you live in it, they kind of plan something to do. And yeah, you're happy to go to that place, but still, I mean, more important is to have some, right? To drink some. So when Saturday comes over, if you want to have some kind of a green light for drinking, you will do some stuff around the house to keep people happy, specifically the people who's they living with you. Let that be, the husband or the wife. So they're not gonna moan because, or they're gonna be dragging about it because you're gonna be actually doing something, and this is as a reward for this. So drinking is actually a reward for my actions, whatever I've done around the house or whatever I achieved on the Saturday if I was asked for something. So whatever the mission was. Now this mission, if I know that Sunday I'm supposed to do something, so I know, okay, fair enough. I know that I'm supposed to do just a little bit, so I'm going to be okay for Sunday. So it's not going to be drama or disaster. Then I will refuse to go somewhere, or I'm going to be in such a bad state that no one is going to be even, just thinking about me. So I'm going with them because it's going to be disaster for everybody. And then that happens. You put it in your head, I'm going to do only few. But then you going on that kind of a mojo made, so you actually getting another one and another one and another one, and you kind of looking on the clock like your sleeping time is shrinking, because the plan was I will drink as much, I will sleep as much, so I'll be okay for the morning activity. And then when you go in too far, then you start losing that sense of the situation. So what you're doing is you keep going, you pass totally the time when you're supposed to stop, and now it's pretty much too late, so you don't give a about it. And then on the morning is disaster. You're unable to stand up, you're unable to actually beneficially put into that family. Kids are actually devastated because again you did it, so you're not coming because you got wasted. They've been actually hoping that you're gonna go with them, but you're feeling a little bit regrets. But at the end of the day, you're thinking, it's just the football. It's not gonna be a big deal. They're gonna be okay with that. But are they really? Then your partner is being very, very angry with you because you promised, but you did not deliver. So all the stuff you did actually on Saturday, it doesn't really matter right now because you cannot redeem yourself. Sounds familiar? Yeah, but you know what? Hey, I got no problem, right? Weekends pretty much that will be looking exactly the same. Even when you're going to start promising yourself, well, I'm not repeating the last weekend because that was bad. Everyone is pissed at me, it's like they're not happy with me. They're very angry with me right now, so I need to ease up a bit. But then when it comes the weekend again, same story. Same story. Even how much I'll tell myself I'm not going to do it, I've done it anyway. And then you've got partners crying, not being happy with it. Probably when you're being totally drunk, you just said something. You probably will never ever say anything like that when you're sober, but you did it. Now you have to come up with some idea how to ease the place, how to excuse yourself, how to just apologize to people around you. It will be coming up down to the point that probably you don't even remember, because it could be like that. You had your little tiny blackouts, so you've been totally so, the leash was taken away from you. You don't actually think, you don't even, just like taking in consideration how others will feel about it. You just go in it. And then on the next day, you don't understand why people don't want to talk to you. They're very angry with you. Well, it's just like going to the points that probably, or maybe you've got some fights, shouting, maybe you damage something, maybe you throw something around the house, which was costly as well, is creating even more chaos to the chaos which is already happening. So that is another stuff, and it's going to be repeatedly done. But hey, I got no problem, right? The simple planning you're doing, like you want to go and you've got some project to do, and this is majority cases happening on the weekends. And because I got more time, so I can cover some bits, I can do some stuff. But then again, go into the town, let's say that you're supposed to go and visit some shop, maybe there's some DIY gardening project involved or something like this. And then you're doing like, okay, I'm gonna, oh, there's a pub on the way, let's just stop in there, and then we're gonna just have a few beers or whatever that is, or maybe a few shots, whatever people are doing it, and then we're gonna just continue with the rest of the day. And it happens to be you got stalled in place. You had one, then you had the second one. The company was so good, so you stay for another one, and suddenly it comes down to the point that you didn't do nothing. You came home wasted pretty much later on. So all your plans are shattered right now. Nothing works. And then on Sunday, for instance, instead of going again, with the idea you had it, so let's just like continue that or finish whatever we started it, you actually so much wasted after that drinking, after that night, that technically speaking, you're no good for nothing. So you kind of this is what the people doing as well. You decided to drink in terms of heal yourself, because that's what the people are thinking. I mean, you got poison with something, so if you use the same stuff, you're gonna feel better. But technically speaking, you're not feeling better. You're just toxicating yourself again. So you're putting yourself to that kind of a numb state, which doesn't make any better for recovery for your body. But hey, I got no problem, right? Maybe it was a situation as well that on the beginning of your drinking journey, and you kind of start losing, it's accountability for whatever you do. So you had like you've been the person who has a kind of a rule. So let's say that I drink only on Saturday, right? Let's say that I drink slowly on Friday because on Friday after work I'm gonna give myself, let's say, 3 beers or whatever that is, and Saturday is considered after the whole day, like the initiation that around maybe the time when is within the supper time area, then you're gonna drink something, and then you go in like, okay, so you allow yourself for Saturday for anything, just because you know that on Sunday you don't go to work, so you can recover nicely, and then Monday you're fresh and pish and posh, you're going to work. But then you're gonna start losing that stuff because you're gonna start doing a little bit Friday, then it's going down to Saturday. It might be a situation that Saturday evening drinking going towards later through the night might start going it like you're gonna try to look excuses for drink everywhere, anywhere in terms of the whole Saturday. So let's say you approach the dinner time or before dinner time, that's fine, right? It's not a shot, it's not a vodka, it's just only beer, so I can have few when I'm doing some job. But then you kind of start to extending that, and then let's say you haven't not been drinking on Sundays, but now you start having one or two on Sunday. Then you start breaking the bond, and let's say that you had a rule that you never drink when you work, but then after work you start drinking. So let's say Monday you didn't touch nothing, but Tuesday you're touching something, and then like you do maybe one on Thursday, then Friday is obvious because it's Friday. So, and that's how that kind of a circle just start to closing down, and you being like exposed to more, to more, and to more. And all that stuff takes years. It doesn't take weeks, because usually you start allowing yourself for more, for more, for more, because you see like, okay, I drank on Tuesday evening, I went on Wednesday to work, no one said nothing, no one noticed nothing. I got, recover a little bit. Or maybe I got the job like that I work by myself. So even if I got a little bit hangish, then no one actually noticed. Or I will have a chance then, let's say I start early shift, no one sees me, there's no supervisor, no manager, maybe they will, just show up later. Let's say that you start 6 and they show up like 9. Come on, I got like 3 hours, even if I'll be, no, just a little bit smellish from alcohol. Within them 3 hours, I'll burn some out. Let's say that you're doing some kind of a physical activity, or maybe there's some vending machines around the place, so you can, just like drink with some kind of a Red Bull or Monster or any other energy drink with caffeine. So, you're going to get better. And even if you're not quite sure if you're still smellish from alcohol, maybe you're going to be the situation that, if I will avoid the office because I can, and I'm not speaking to anybody, I'll make sure that I keep some kind of a distance, so they're not going to be, able to get to smell anything off of me, then I should be all right then, yeah? So that becomes that kind of a dangerous job and mission later. But hey, I got no problem, right? All them bold situations, all them bold actions, which you might be afraid on the beginning not to do it, you're gonna start breaking loose at some point. And you're gonna start getting a kind of attention to that I'm actually going the wrong direction. Because that usually takes years, decades, and whatever. It could be that you're gonna be slipping for years and years like that with no problem. Maybe you're kind of a delivery driver, and you're never gonna be pulled up, or you're never gonna be stopped by any police for any checks or whatever, or no one's gonna notice nothing. And in some places we have a situation like they someone knows that you are, let's say, like a functional alcoholic or something, but they keep kind of refusing taking actions because you are a good worker. Yeah, but that's gonna finish very quickly upon, when it's gonna be like this, you're gonna create some kind of a dangerous situation. Until you're doing the stuff right, no one's gonna be actually doing any actions unless you will do something really, really, really bad in terms of they cannot, just shut my eye on it, not see it from the point of manager. But this all is kind of a losing. You're losing, and you're giving more and more and more, perimeter towards the alcohol in your life. So, but we're still gonna have people which they always be saying, I never had a problem with that. I control it, that, right? Or maybe you don't. Maybe that's the reason why you're asking yourself some questions. Maybe that's the reason why you're looking something, searching for something around, places like internet or YouTube channels, when you want to see if there's something wrong with me, or maybe there's something I'm supposed to do with that. But many people don't want to, you kind of agree to, okay, I have a problem, because if I want to say that I have a problem, that means I'm a failure at something, and not necessarily. The alcohol itself is a huge problem. It was a problem, and it will be a problem. And there's going to be many more people coming up after you. So there was problem to many people in the past. There is a problem to many people at this moment as we speak, and it's going to be a problem for the people in the future. Because you can see a kind of a walking future alcoholics developing, and the trouble with that one is that you might not be able to get it fixed yourself, right? As long as, because from educational point of view, it's something like, fair enough, I will just, get some informations, look up to something, maybe read something. I'm not good to go for some therapy or rehabs or places like that. But the question is, would you be able to cover everything yourself? You meeting and getting together with some people, they already went through something, so they can give you some kind of a heads ups, so you know what could be next. And it's good kind of a know what's, like few steps up front of you. And it's going to be many people which they're going to be trapped in that situation the whole life, because some of them are actually gone because the body couldn't take, the toll anymore. But there is a lot of people which they being trapped, and they kind of that prison makes them not happy at all. Anxiety kicks in, and all the other stuff around it, and they just don't know how to go with it. But the first as important thing is to understand that, yes, there is something I've got a problem with, not walking around and telling everyone I don't have a problem. It's just like every time you start conversation somewhere with some people, they gonna try to tell you that, I don't drink that much. But do you? I mean, how much is, that much? How that will look like? And everyone is different, and everyone has a different capacity. Everyone has a different metabolism brain, the metabolism rate. Everyone has a different kind of a body reactions to it. But it's very important to understand that if some patterns are keep repeating themselves, and they kind of, if anything will be disturbing your life, that is actually physically disturbing your life, that you have a problems with something as an outcome from your drinking, that means there is a big problem. It's the same like someone goes for night out, and it comes back, and there was a party, and you black out. And then you have a situation that you're waking up at home, and you see that you've got your old documents lost, you got no money, you got this. So these are like, in many cases, early signs that maybe something's not right. Because technically speaking, if you're going towards some party, you're supposed to come back nicely and safely from it. And if you're coming home, you're some kind of an injury state, or something happened to you, or maybe even you end up on a police station because you behave wrongly, but you don't remember stuff, then I would say something definitely is not right. So, and maybe there is some kind of a problem. But everyone is gonna have it's funny thing, because you're gonna have like different but the same situations. I mean, you'll find people repeatedly doing the same stuff. In terms of, maybe your case is different, but probably you will find the other people have same stuff. Maybe not directly with people, but you might hear from somebody else saying something similar. So maybe there is a problem, and we have to kind of approach that problem different way. I hope that video was beneficial for you, and maybe will help you somehow to understand, closer and clearly what's going on. But the most important thing is this, that remember that if you have a problem, for instance, can king or a queen sobriety yourself. If anyone else done it, then you can do it. If you're interested with more, then you know what to do. Just stay tuned, and I wish you happy and sober evening, and we shall see ourselves again. All right, take care of yourself.